Kim here once again from Kyms Homestead here in lovely Victoria, Australia, and you're back in my kitchen again. So what am I doing today? Well, today my mulberry tree has an absolute plethora of mulberries, and I'm sure a lot of people around Australia have got the same problem. So I've made mulberry sauce, I've bottled mulberries for mulberry pie or for future use later on, and I've got 2 big buckets here of mulberries that I've just finished washing, and I haven't bothered to take the stems off or anything like that, because what I'm going to do is, because there's a lot of seeds and other things in mulberries, I'm not particularly fussed on the seeds. So I'm actually going to make like a mulberry jelly jam out of it. And here we are with all the mulberries ready for washing and sorting before they get weighed and go into the big pot. Some beautiful fruit there. Don't worry about the stems. All I'm doing is washing the dirt and the bugs off and getting rid of some of the twigs and some of the rubbish that's there. But otherwise the rest will go in and it will all make beautiful jam. Or in other countries some people call it jelly. I think jam is when you use the whole fruit and jelly is when you use the juice. And I will be using mainly just the juice and the pulp, because it will all be strained through a strainer. Now the difference between just plain fruit jam is it has all the fruit and that in it, and jelly is you normally take the juices and the pulp from the fruit and you make a firm jam jelly consistency out of it. And that's what I'll be doing with this lot. Once it's all boiled up, I will be straining it, and then I'll be adding the sugar and pectin. I will add some sugar to begin with, but mainly only just a little bit, not that much. And then later on, when it's all strained, then I will be adding the rest of the sugar, boiling it up for about 15 minutes, and then I will be adding the pectin with the last of the sugar. Then I will be boiling it up until it sets, and I will show you how to make sure it sets up. What I'm also going to be doing, aside from the mulberries, going to attempt another couple of recipes as well. One is I've got some cucumbers that need to have something done with them, otherwise they're going to go off. So I'm just going to make a sweet pickle and make pickled cucumbers for summer this year. Then I'm also going to be making some chicken stock. I'm running fairly low on chicken stock, so that's what I'll be doing as well. I've got, my kids came over for tea the other night, which was really lovely, and we had Kentucky Fried Chicken. Now, rather than throw all the bones out, I have all the bones and the bits of meat and the seasonings and whatever else you use in Kentucky Fried, and some old vegetables from the fridge, and a couple of onions that's sprouted, and I'm going to be making some very delicious Kentucky Fried Chicken stock. So that's what I'm going to be attempting today. It may take all day, it may lead into tomorrow as well. Probably canning the jam and the stock will lead into tomorrow. But anyway, let's get started with the jam. So first of all, I have my little scales here. Now I'm going to go pretty much 1 for 1. So 1 part fruit, 1 part sugar. So here is my big stock pot. Not my big stock pot, but my big stock pot. Now in using your stock pot, I always make sure that I have a stainless steel stock pot, because this fruit will stain everything. I do have another big stock pot, but it's a nice enamel stock pot, and I don't want to stain it purple or black as it comes out with the mulberries. So let's tear the weight off. Come on. This is actually a lend of the scales. Mine unfortunately got packed. So, and for some reason it doesn't want to tear off. There we go. Okay, now I will just pour the fruit into it. Stems and all. As I said, I've washed out all the dirt and taken out the really old bits that have dried up. Okay, we have 4 pounds, 4.9 ounces. So I have a 3 kilogram bag of sugar. 4.9, so we'll tear that off again. Doing this silly looking thing. No, it's gone and had a little fit. Well, that's handy. Well, looks like I'll just have to guesstimate the rest. So there's a good amount left to put in, probably about another pound, I'd say. So I'm going to put this on to the boil. bit of this. I think the owner can have it back. Now, I shall put this on the stove. I will start at a fairly low heat until the sugar dissolves, and I might actually take some of that sugar out. There we go, whatever's left can stay in there. Now, put this on the stove and heat it up. Okay, you see with the jam, there's lots of juice in there. So to get it started with, all you need is just about a cupful of water so that it doesn't burn the bottom, and nothing like worse than burnt jam. So there's plenty of juice, and that will just bubble away probably for the rest of most of this afternoon. Right, so to make sure that doesn't burn, I've also put in about a cupful of water. That will boil off as the jam is being made. Now we will get started with the chicken stock. So for this I'm going to need my cast iron stock pot. Chopping board and knife, bones. I've actually got a piece of chicken in the fridge from last night's meal, so that will probably go into the pot as well. See, all in, holus bolus. Now here I have some carrots that have been sitting in the fridge for quite some time. These are carrots that I grew last year. They're really not worth much as far as eating wise, but I thought they would make a nice flavourful stock, so that's what I'm doing. I'll just cut them up in, well, roughly chop them into smaller pieces. Now they have been thoroughly washed, a few times actually, and washed just again. And into the pot they go. just like that. Now, here I have some onions that have sprouted. There's 3 of those. So rather than waste them, they'll be going into the stock. Don't have to worry about chopping them up too much. Mainly I just chop them up so that they'll fit in the pot better, and leave the skins on. The skins actually give the stock a really nice colour. Make sure, of course, that the onion isn't rotten. That would not be good in the stock pot. But as far as sprouting goes, not a problem. In it goes. And in it goes. That's what I said, peels and all. Same with some garlic. Now I've got a couple of bits and pieces here. They don't need to go in. But I've got some old garlic here. Needs to be used. So what I'll do is I'll just smash the clove and throw it in. This is actually the leftovers of the elephant garlic and the garlic that I planted out with you guys earlier in the year. It won't be long and that will be ready for harvesting. Don't mind that beeping sound, that's my dishwasher telling me I'm on pause. Because normally whenever I do this, my dishwasher's going flat out. Right, now all I need to do is add some salt and pepper. I probably won't add a huge amount. That's probably about a teaspoon. I'll taste it later on to make sure there's enough, and some black pepper. Now all I have to do is fill it up. I do like to use filtered water for this. And it looks like I need to fill up my filter again. Now, what I did do is I forgot I had a bag of mulberries there that I pulled out of the freezer, so they can go in the pot too. Right, so while we're waiting that water to filter through. I will dice up these cucumbers ready to put into jars. Okay, so I'm going to just top and tail them. Right, so I'm top and tailing these into about the jar size. There we go, that can go to the chookies. And I think I'll just make some nice long slices. These Lebanese cucumbers are really nice. Unfortunately, they don't keep fresh for very long, especially when you buy them in the supermarket like I had to. So now I will pack my jars. These have been thoroughly washed, and these will water bath for as long as the jam does, so they'll probably go in with the jam when I water bath it. Put it on its side and just pack the jars and see how many I get. Haven't got enough to fill that one, so let's look for a smaller jar. Now this one I will do as a fresh pickle, and it can go in the fridge for eating. So let's do shove all the bits in there. And there we go. I've got one for long-term use. Oh well, be a couple of months anyway. And one for eating in a couple of weeks. Right, now, what do we need? Okay, here I have just a smallish type pot, certainly big enough for enough mixture for 2 jars. Here I have a 1/2 cup measure, so I'm going to do a 1/2 cup of sugar. here I have apple cider vinegar. That's a ½ cup measure. Here I have white vinegar. And we'll see if we've got some water yet. Okay, so here I'm going to need 1 cup. There we go. Right, now we need okay, I knew I got it out. 1 teaspoon yellow mustard. 1 teaspoon celery seeds. 'Now if you don't like mustard or celery seed or whatever, leave them out. If you like just white vinegar, just use white vinegar. If you like all apple cider vinegar or any other vinegar, use that. This recipe actually calls for black tea as well, but I wasn't wrapped in that, so I'm not putting black tea in. Now some salt. I think I'll just look up that recipe again, Mr. Google Pants. You'll find it, Binky's Culinary, sweet pickles. Four bags of black tea. But this is for 3 pounds of cucumbers. I don't obviously have 3 pounds. Okay, 1/4 teaspoon turmeric. Quarter cup of salt. You probably won't need that much salt, but okay, so turmeric, just a small amount. That one would be, yeah, probably 1/8 to 1/4 teaspoon. Now, because it goes for 1/4 cup, well, I don't have that much in there. So, what I have in there, put about 3/4 of what's left in this jar. There you go. Now this is pink Himalayan salt. I like it because it has all the minerals and everything in it. And we don't get Redmonds here. Right, now what I'll do is put that on to boil for probably about 5 minutes, and then the jars will be ready for packing. I won't pour it into the jars straight away. I will actually let it cool off a little bit. Otherwise you might find the jars will crack. Right, just put the top on that and top on that, keep the bugs out. Now, this one here is the chicken stock, and hopefully we've got enough water in here now to fill it. There we go, filled it right up as much as I could. Now I'll just put the top on that and bring it to the boil. Well, that's it for that step at the moment. So the next step will be to bring you back once the sugar's ready to go into, well actually, when the jam's ready to be strained. That's when I'll bring you back. And that chicken stock will probably boil for about 4 hours. And also when the pickle juice has boiled and cooled off enough, I'll bring you back and we'll jar these up together as well. In the meantime, I'll fill up my jug again, and I think I'll have a cup of coffee. Well, the sweet pickle is ready to be done. So, I've just got a smaller funnel that I cut out of the top of a bottle. Oops. Helps if you're not a klutz like me. That was the chicken stock boiling over. Helps to keep an eye on things. Okay, so there we go. Okay, chicken skewer, debubble. Make sure there's no little air bubbles hidden away in there somewhere. You don't want to skewer your stuff too much, but like to make sure there's no bubbles. And then adjust the head height if necessary. That's pretty good. And we have a lid, we have a piece of clean paper towel, and we're just going to wipe the rim. Should be all good because it's vinegar anyway. And yes, I do reuse my lids, mainly because in Australia you still can't get them. And finger tight, that one's ready for the canner. Yeah, it will be canned the same time as the jams. Bubble, shouldn't be too many bubbles in that because it's pretty loosely packed, but I like to make sure. Hello Mr. Trouble, where have you been? Out hunting. There we go. And this is just a little clip lock one. Now I can water bath this if I want to, and it will be quite good, but this one I'm actually going to pop into the fridge and let it mature in the fridge so that I can start having it within a matter of 4 or 5 days, and it will be good with my salads. So that's one recipe done. Two more to go. Okay, our bone broth is ready and I have strained it out. It is a beautiful consistency and it tastes absolutely delicious. So I'm not going to can it tonight because it's just getting too late. So what I'll do is just put it in the jar and I'll pop it in the fridge and I will can it tomorrow. Well, actually there's only one, so I might just pop this in the freezer. I'll leave the lid on loose so that it can breathe tonight. And this, what's left here, I will put into a baggie and that will go into the freezer as well. Unless I can find another small jar. No, I'll put it in a bag. Okay, my camera has gone flat. So the rest of this I have to finish by my phone. I'm sorry guys. Right. So what I have done is I've taken out my stick blender and I have blended all the stems and the fruit and the pulp and everything all up together so that it's a nice fine mixture. So now I will strain it into this container. I'm sorry you can't see that very well, I know, but I can't scrape it and hold it at the same time. It's a very big heavy pot. Right, there we go. Now I'm not going to worry about washing it because it's going back in there and I really don't care if there's 1 or 2 stray seeds in it. I just don't like a whole lot. So I will strain out most of that mash. Then I may actually put it through another sieve, a finer sieve, to get the rest of that out. We'll see how it goes. As I said, I don't mind 1 or 2 seeds, but I just don't like it. I don't like my jam crunchy. That'll do that lot. I could probably get a bit more out, but trust me, I've got enough jam. Right, I think I will get a finer. Let's have a look. Actually, that's not bad. Yeah. Right, what's left in there can go to the chooks. sure they will appreciate that. And this can be poured back into the pot. Where I will add the next round of sugar. Okay, so I'm going to throw in what's left in this bag. And the sugar I took out before. And I have reserved 1 cup. Now I will put, now we can't get Pomona's pectin or anything like that, so it's either high sugar or no sugar, and it won't set without sugar. But what we get is the Fowler's Jam Setter pectin. So I'm going to add 2 packets of pectin to this sugar. To the jam, I'm also going to add a pinch of salt. Also, I have lemon. This is just frozen lemon juice. This is those little baggy type things of lemon juice. They can be a bit of a pain, but let's see if I can get them out. I need some scissors. Don't ever get those slate floors. They are horrid. There we go, more lemon juice. And I have lemon zest that we did together when I preserved all those lemons from the neighbour. I'll leave a link for that video down in the description box. I found it very handy to have the lemon zest, although it did dry out, so if you can get these little things with the lid, that would be good. Okay, so there's our mixture ready to go back onto the stove. And I will let that bubble away until it's ready. What I will also do is put 3 bread and butter plates into the freezer to cool down, ready for testing the jam later on. Okay, right on it. KFC. Chicken stock. There we go. When that cools down, I'll get the rest of the air out and pop it in the freezer. Right, now time to do our jam. We'll get out one of those butter plates and I'll pop a little bit of jam on it and see if it's ready to start bottling. Okay, so here we are on the cold plate. I have let it cool down a little bit, otherwise regardless hot, cold, whatever, it will still run a little bit. So you just push your finger through and see how it bunches up and leaves a trail. Your jam is ready. Very nice jam it is too. So now, my proper camera is all charged up now. Now it's time to bottle up our jam. So I'm actually going to start with the odd jars first. These are clean jars. Now our jam had cooled off considerably, so I've reheated it to just warm. To make it runny again, and it'll be fine. It'll turn into liquid again when I heat it up for bottling. And I just fill it to the top line there, where there's a screw lid supposed to go on. That's what I fill it to. So I'll just put these to one side. They'll be cleaned up a little bit later when I'm ready. Now these ones are wider mouth, so I'll be using my funnel one for these ones, which help to keep the lid, the top parts nice and clean actually. Well, I guess you get the general drift of what I'm doing here. I won't make you go through the painful process of watching me fill up every single jar. So I will bring you back when they're all filled up. Right, so here we are. We have 15 jars jarred up, and I've still got probably enough there for another 3 jars in the pot, which I'm actually going to jar up and put in the fridge. One is for a friend of mine, and the other 2 will be eaten this week. So these ones here, they will be an assortment of possibly Christmas gifts and stores for the pantry, as this is going to probably be my last year of having mulberry jam, and I do like mulberry jam. I probably won't be giving too many away, but I do still have a few in the pantry, so let's say I won't be overly lavish with them this year, but I won't be overly generous either. So now it comes time to put the lids on, and I'm just giving them a really good wipe because jam is very sticky and I don't want any of that, see what I mean? I don't want any of that stuck on the lid and making a false seal. Now here I've got the lids, they're just sitting in boiling water at the moment. There's no need to boil your lids anymore, but I do like to put them in hot water, and you screw them up. Don't wrench them, but just nice and firm. Because what I find is especially the screw top lids, they do tend to unscrew. So, but nice and firmly should do it. Give the lids a really good go, and on with the next lid. Basically finger tight. If you can't get that tighter with your fingers, don't screw it down. That's what finger tight is. See, finger tight. Now in here I've just got a little bit of vinegar. Right, well I'll bring you back when they're all done. Okay, it's time to start loading them in. Now I've got no water in here at the moment. Now because I'll be using a second layer, I've got to use one of these. I'll just shift them around a bit. Goes on properly. There we go. This is the water from the lids and what's left of the vinegar. This is just cold water out of the tap. Right, I haven't covered the jars because what I will actually be doing is steam canning them. So I'll put the water on, and when the water comes to steaming out of the outlet in the lid, I will set my timer for 15 minutes and then turn it off and it will be done. Right, so all I'm doing is I'm using my pressure canner as a steam canner. Okay, so now the canner has been come up to temperature, it's boiling, and the little pressure gauge has now lifted. So now I will set my timer for 15 minutes. Hey Google, set timer for 15 minutes. Right, the jam has now gone the full amount of the time, 15 minutes. So all I do now is turn the power off and let it cool down naturally. So there we go friends, all done and finished. And yes, it's another day. What we ended up with was a large jar of KFC chicken stock and also another little baggie which is folded flat. That will sit in my freezer. This one here will go in the freezer as well because I'm not starting the pressure canner up for one jar. Also, I have some cucumber pickles. I've got 2 jars of these, just out of pickles that would go off in the fridge. Now they're preserved, ready for summertime salads and just for general eating. I've also got just a little bit of liquid left which I put into a jar, and that will go into preserving something else. Maybe some more pickles, cucumbers, maybe some carrots, maybe some onions, whatever. Pickle juice in stir fries is also quite good sometimes. Also, we have 15 jars of jam. No, 16. 16 jars of jam. So this one here is for a friend of mine, which has just got a screw top lid. So long as they refrigerate it, it won't be a problem. That's a nice big jar for a friend, and I'm sure him and his family will appreciate it. There's 2 jars here that didn't seal. So unfortunately, with these sort of jars with the screw top lids, you usually get a couple of jars out of it that won't seal, which is a bit of a pain in the patootie. But that's the way it goes. Until we can get some stocks here in Australia, they're stuffed. And then I have this nice big tray of jams. Now this is just from my mulberry tree, so aside from the sugar and the power, it's pretty much free. Can't get cheaper than that. This is the second tray of jams. And as you know, this is going to be my last year on this particular homestead. So maybe wherever I go doesn't have a mulberry bush. So this is probably the last year of mulberries I'm going to have here. But I've also got these size, I think they're 500ml bags or something. They're just lunch bags. I've got probably about 6 or 7 of those in my freezer of mulberries, and I've still got, there's still loads out on the tree yet, so I'm going to pick what I can this year and put it away, and that way I will have mulberries for many years to come, all preserved and put away, ready for whatever I choose. So that's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed my little preserving day. It was a big one. And if you've got things in your backyard or in your fridge, or maybe your friend's backyard or fridge, at this time of year there's lots of produce that people are trying to get rid of, then, or it's going really cheap. Take what you can afford, take what you can handle, and preserve it. And fill your pantries with all this delicious food, and you and your family can enjoy for quite some time afterwards. As I said, even if it's just something in your fridge that's about to go bad, preserve it in some way, and you'll have it for a lot longer. Anyway, I hope this has been of some help to some of you out there. If so, please think about giving me a thumbs up, and if you like the content that I bring, think about subscribing. I really would appreciate it. Anyway, this is it from me for now. I'll catch you again soon. Bye folks.